Scotty.
Hey Wayne, how you doing?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good timing. I was outside, and then the sun went in, and I'm freezing my ass off. So I had to go get a blanket because I don't want to go back in. Because up here in the north, where you used to be, we don't get a lot of nice days for outside.
Sunny and 70 today here.
Oh, yeah. Rub it in. Why don't you? So just out of curiosity, are you on your laptop?
Yes.
So those headphones, do they have the little guy that goes into your phone here, and then you have a different connection to your laptop?
No, I just plug these ones right into my laptop, like the old
Oh,
school.
so they have the old, it's the old style for the iPhone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the ones I have now have that, it goes right into the charging port.
Yeah, the lightning cable. I have those for my phone.
Yeah, and then that one doesn't work on this because I like using headphones too, but the AirPods they've kind of struggled, so I'm not going to them. So.
I can't go there yet. I know everyone, it just doesn't feel right to me. Just those things
Exactly.
hanging in my ears.
Exactly. So how's homeschooling going?
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's like your days are so fast and it's not anything crazy. It's just like getting them organized, and the kids do a great job. It's just that, before you know it, you're like, it's 11:30 in the morning and it's lunchtime. And then it's, I want to get some things done. And then it's, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. So I've done a bunch of these, and I take a different route each time, kind of based on just where I am at for learning. So this one is me and you. I want to ask you, I have really three main questions. And then I might show some stuff to my team. I might, with your approval, post something. But with everybody that I've done with, I'm not posting anything that's secret info if you're talking about a player or something that you don't want going out. So, you could feel comfortable that I'm not going to be sharing state secrets here.
No, I mean, you can post anything you want. I don't have it. There's no secrets.
Yeah. So first question number one is, from your perspective, now that obviously our spring season was banged, summer ball is effectively banged, right? And how, from your perspective, are you running your guys from now May 7th to when they're back on campus in the fall? Are you giving them programs all summer, throwing programs? Are you guys meeting online? Are you changing the fall because of what's happened? So how are you handling the next stretch as a pitching coach?
Well, I kind of have a mixed bag right now. That's the challenge. We had guys in the Cape League and the NECBL, which obviously have been canceled, but we also have guys in the Northwoods League, which is still effectively on. So, and the California League, we had a couple guys there. So we've had some guys that are kind of in a limbo. So the staff is kind of mixed, and a couple guys with Team USA as well that potentially could do that. Now, whether we travel abroad and all that stuff, I don't know with that deal. But the challenge I tell the guys right now is it's almost like strength training. We have to go through 4-week cycles here and kind of try to give some periodization to this a little bit. If you're just going to continue to do the same thing here for the next whatever until you're probably going to just plateau and not improve. So I really haven't sent out any programs because I have guys that have access to facilities. I have other guys that have our third baseman that they can play catch with at a local field. Right. So, but what I've done is I communicate with them very regularly, just on the phone, and just talk to them about what are you trying to accomplish right now, and some guys like, I just want to, get my lower half right. So I'm focused in on that. Another guy's like, I go into this place and I can work on a Rapsodo and I'm trying to tinker around with my curveball. I just think it right now, anything they can do to improve their game is and improve their life is probably the best way to go about it. I mean, because, if we don't get back to the fall and playing baseball, and you're talking about March, half of March, April, May, June, July, August, you're talking 6 months. I mean, there's no way you should be shut down for that length of time. No way. Right. I mean, that just can't happen. And there's no way you want to be ramped up for nothing. There's, so that's been the real, it's just been points of conversation. And I think what happens, Wayne, if I give the best advice I would tell somebody is that when we do get back into action, I think you have to have really heart-to-heart conversations with your player and what they actually accomplished over whatever period of time we've been shut down, because that will determine where you and how fast you can ramp and move back into play. I mean, we all want to get back into competitive nature fast, but if you've had a guy that's isolated and, he lives in Manhattan and he hasn't been able to do anything for 6 months outside of take care of his body with body weight stuff, his training's going to be way behind. And you might be better served just to get him back to, where he needs to be before you start doing things with him. So it's definitely uncharted waters. I'll tell you that,
Yeah. I just think that we've kind of come to grips with our normal fall has been a good month of individuals. Then we start the fall at the end of September and, our official team practice the whole bit. And then we're talking about really trying to go live as much as possible immediately. So prepping guys at the end of August to be able to, get back and be competitive as early as possible. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that? Is that something you guys are considering? Is the fall going to change because of what's happening, or you haven't gotten that far yet?
Well, I think we usually go with the fall, and we spend the month of August, half August, and then September. This is kind of our off season. When I say off season, that's where we start to do. Most of our guys come off summer ball, and we do a lot, strength training and team conditioning and stuff during that time, and slowly reintroduce baseball back into some individual stuff. And then we use our fall. We start actually the second week of October, and we take it right through Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we really use that as not only a competitive and teaching mode and getting used to training and all that stuff, but also for our pitchers, it's really a ramp up. We slowly ramp up during that period, because when we get done with the deal at Thanksgiving, it's only the month of December. We report back to school January 4th. So you're talking about a short window. So we might deload a little bit for a week or two, but then we really try to get the pregame or the preseason ramping back up. So we will not change that unless what will happen is, and I've talked to Coach Corbin about this, is if we do get a lot of guys playing summer baseball and they continue on playing and they're able to get at least a month in or whatever it is.
Yeah.
From there, we'll start right away. I just don't want to deal with the ups and downs. I don't want to, because they've already had one. If they do it again, it'll be a second, and then they're going to have a little bit of a period before. Those are the times I get concerned about, those peaks and valleys. So the more they can stay in a good, rhythm with that, I'd like to do that. So that would be an adjustment that could be made if we are able to play. But I think the competitive mode is really important, but at the same time, I look at it as you really have to be smart about it. You almost have to get back into a training mode, and it's going to be, we want to get fired up and go live, and we got to compete, and but at the same time, we might have to just look at it as very controlled, just because of the different natures of where each and every guy's at.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Now, when you said you guys are back January 4th, is that when school starts?
Yeah, school starts the first Monday after New Year's for us.
Wow.
So, I mean, we go about 3 weeks of like individuals, and which is nice. I really like that time because it gives me, but at the same time, it's challenging in some regards because you're fighting the urge to to move quicker than you really need to. You feel like, I got all the guys here, but you just got to stay slow and steady with it and trust that, you're building them up for the right reasons. So.
Okay, good. All right. So move on to the second topic now is, and again, this is, if you say something positive or negative, I'm not going to use this piece, but obviously, we're on different budgets for our programs, right? So me personally, professionally, this break has been probably the best time of my learning life. I've had great conversations with such great people. There's even this cool thing that actually happens tonight. You may have heard of it, or you may be doing something else like it, but it was really neat. Was Butch Thompson runs a pitching coach like only Zoom, where he kind of leads it, and it's a lot of really high-end pitching guys in there, and it's just open. And they have an agenda that they kind of follow each week, and then questions lead to what the next week is, and that's been really cool. So just on a side note, if you have any interest, I could send you that link if you feel like ever popping in. I think, yeah, it's 7:30 your time. I made that mistake when he said, yes, hey, 7:30. And then I clicked on at 7:30 my time, and it was only him, and he was preparing for the meeting. So, but a lot of high end guys, I'm sure you'd be really welcome. It's just a great time to just talk pitching. So from conversations like that, I guess my question goes to what gear, what tech, what things do you find that are things you use all the time? And I have my thoughts on some things, but I'm now, I got a list of 10 things that I'd love to snap my fingers and be able to get, except, a lot of them I can't be able to afford, especially with the way budgets may be going now. So in your tool bag of things, are there things that you find that are crucial for you to do your job as a pitching coach?
Crucial? I mean, I don't think anything's crucial. I mean, I think we were having success before any of this tech really came out as coaches. And to me personally, the tech, I'm well versed in it, and I've been fortunate enough to, get my hands on it at early stages of development and learn through experiences. So I use the tech more as like to supplement what I see. And, I think, the data is very important, but the data is not everything. And, just because we can measure it doesn't mean it's good either. So it's, I've just watched more guys, we open up some times where guys come down to our practices and watch. And I've just watched more guys, like when the Rapsodo's on, just stare at the Rapsodo. And, it's like, that's a great tool. I love it. But it's like, at the same time, you didn't see the pitch. You didn't watch the pitch, what was happening.
Right.
I just think that, to me, the most important aspects are, collecting reference points is how I really treat it. Okay. So the Rapsodo is great. And I don't let the Rapsodo leave my pitching lab because I don't want any other variable. It's the same spot, the same thing. It doesn't move. So, and it's non-competitive data. It's training data. So different than TrackMan. Yeah. And then I'm fortunate right now to have this Newt ground force reaction mound that's really, really awesome. I'm probably one of 4 people right now, I think, in the country to have one. I just got in December though. And again, I love it because it just justifies what I see, and it's hooked to a 200 frame per second camera. It's immediate feedback. Watching, the pitcher can watch himself in the delivery, the graph. I'm learning more about reading the graph and the kinematics sequence just in what I know. So it's a cool tool. Is it a necessity? No, it's a $75,000 piece of equipment. And it's cool. And it really, it's like little things with that it sounds really simple, but you probably have seen it. It's like, guy comes in and says, I want to do a pitch design on my curveball. And you're like, okay, well, let's do it on the ground force reaction mount. Let's see how it goes. And, Rapsodo, he's like, it just doesn't have the right direction. And he's like, why don't you have the Edgertronic up? I'm like, it's not needed today, but I'm going to put it up because I'm just going to capture it for you so you can see it. But your curveball lies in your lower half. Why don't you create the same force you do on your fastball? Right. And then voila. Oh, your hand gets to a better position. But, you've seen that before on film, or you've watched it with your own eyes. You're like, you're babying your breaking ball with your lower half. This just gives me the numbers to go, you didn't do it, or you did do it, and look what happens. So all that tech is really, really cool. I just think that it's about creating an environment that's going to lead to success.
Totally with you. And let me just cut in to say, I have a Rapsodo, and I use it in a way of, I basically bring it to the visitor side bullpen. I get me and one pitcher and 2 buckets of balls, no catcher, no one else around, and we just kind of mess around with it, So when we're throwing a straight up bullpen, that we really don't use it. It's more of like one-on-one. Let's kind of get under the hood and that type of thing. So I'm comfortable with the way my knowledge is. But let's just take Edgertronic. Edgertronic is what, high-speed camera?
Yeah, now you don't even need that anymore. I mean, that camera, you could capture stuff with your iPhone, these new iPhones, and there's Sony cameras out there that are 1/10 the cost of the Edgertronic. It's a beautiful tool, but at the same time, you could get away with a much lesser tool to accomplish what you need to, And the reason I like video and I run video is I think we got a lot of visual learners now. And I just think that what they think is real and what they feel are 2 different things, and it's okay. But, it's just the opportunity. I I like just putting that stuff up when we're throwing and not just diving into it every single pitch. Sometimes it's just throwing a really good pitch and then turning around and looking at the TV screen and just watching it again and then saying, hey, to the video coordinator or myself, hey, can you play that back one more time? Now they've seen the same pitch 3 times. So it's like they just had 3 different reps inside their body and their head and stuff. So it's a different way of looking at it.
But just take that right there. How does that even – is that video is being captured and played how?
Well, it's hooked to a laptop, and then we wire it to our lab has, a couple TV screens on each side of the mounds that we just wire it to it, and we just play it back. And if we don't, sometimes we don't play it back. It just runs, and we just capture what we want to capture, and we'll go back and look later and see if there's anything we want to pick up on. Or a lot of times in a bullpen, I just run the Rapsodo not to do anything diving into the Rapsodo, to monitor workload. We do different things with that. And if something happens where you're like, oh, that was different, that was really good, you now at least have some sort of documentation of footage and spin rates and stuff like that that you can really dive into, and say, okay, I'm going to hold, I want to take a look at that pitch, and what that was. And, so the stuff is all cool, but it still comes down to, what the intent is and,
Absolutely.
and what you're trying to accomplish.
I'm totally with you, but just to be clear too, I also mean, is there any rehab thing? Do you like a certain foam roller? Do you like a massage gun? Do you like this new thing that's the power ball, the core velocity belt? Like, are there other pieces that you just find to help you teach?
I like all those tools. I think all tools have a really good place. It's just how you implement them. The core velocity belt I've had for a long time. And I really like just, different things with each guys. And I got guys that use it to levels that I would never even imagine that they've created on their own programs. I got other guys that just simply want to attach themselves to some resistance and get down the mound just to feel a little different tension. And so the tool's great for either guy. And if you watch one guy give a lecture on it, you go, wow, this guy really knows what he's doing. This other guy just hooks it up on the mound. But they both implement it correctly, and it works for them. And, so I like that tool. I like, I like weighted baseballs. I like different throwing objects, clean fuegos, just to work on.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. You like those?
Those are great. Yeah, those are great because they give good feedback. I use those with my 11-year-old son right now, and it's just about a feel. And, I think anytime you can develop something that creates the feel or some sort of internal cue for the athlete.
No question. Absolutely.
I think, I joked with some guys on a Zoom call last week. We were on a happy hour Zoom call. It was great. And I said to him, guys, I'm kind of lucky right now. I got an 11-year-old guinea pig that has a passion for baseball. He loves it. He can hit and throw at a pretty good level for an 11-year-old. So I said, he asked me if he could learn a breaking ball. And I said, sure. He goes, you going to teach me? I go, nope, sorry. And he goes, well, 2 of your pitchers, Dad, showed me how to hold it. I go, good. 2 left-handed pitchers, perfect, awesome. Right. And I said, throw a couple. And I've talked to guys like Sonny Gray and Kyle Wright that spin really good breaking balls, and Steve Rivera at St. John's. And they're like, yeah, I've been spinning it my whole life, 10, 11 years old. So it's kind of like goes against the norm of what everyone thinks. But so he said to me, all right, what am I doing wrong? I go, I don't know. I have no idea. I know nothing. Just throw the balls to me. I'm your dad. And he didn't do a really good job with his curveball. Well, fast forward about a week, we're playing wiffle ball, like in the backyard, like with no base running. He's pitching to me, and we're playing the hit game and da-da-da. He starts snapping off nasty snapdragons to me. And I'm like, what is going on here? Hitting the chair, I can't hit it. And I'm like, all right. So mental no. Next time we played catch, he said, I'm going to throw my curveball. I go, all right. And he threw one. It was terrible. I said, why don't you throw it like you throw your wiffle ball? Voila, spin comes out of there. Just didn't connect the dots. He didn't. He didn't need to be taught. So now he's got a decent spin to a breaking ball, which is a good start. And again, if you cue him up and you start teaching him with all different objects, and this and that, it just took a wiffle ball. I mean, and him to just play. And I think a lot of times, that's all. For me personally, that's really the way I teach. I just really want guys to connect dots. And, I watch plyo ball work. I love plyo ball work. But if plyo ball work is really affecting you and you're just doing it because it sounds cool or it's a driveline program or whatever program you're following, but you really have no intent behind it, really master something, I go, well, there's really no need for this. You
Right.
shouldn't be doing this. And as cool as it might look, your pivot picks they're not leading to success, dude.
Right.
They're not. So,
Yeah.
Any tool that I feel like can assist our players, I tell them, like, I encourage them to do a lot of research too. I said, if there's something you really like and you think that we need to have it down here and it's going to help us, even if I'm not teaching it, just tell me and let me do it. And if I can get it, I'll get it for you, because that to me is like, that's the beauty of our environment is you come down, if we got 15 pitchers, they all have 15 different things and deals that they
Absolutely.
do,
Yep.
Yep. And so there's a lot of cool things out there, and it's just really, it's figuring out how to implement each and everything. I've never run a core velocity station in a training session with my pitchers. I've never run a plow ball station. It's more about just introductory stuff and watching them and communicating with them. And, hey, try this, try these balls right here. Try this. Oh yeah, I like that. It's cool. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, that's what you said is a great point, and it's something I got from listening to Randy Sullivan talk a bit, and who I really didn't know a thing about until recently. And his concept is, they got to feel it. You got to set it up in a way that they feel it, as opposed to just telling them. And that's why those clean fuego balls that's on my list of things too. So, is there anything else that you maybe even take for granted that is run out at a practice or in your lab or something that's at the $100-$200 thing for my own son, for the team, things. I might try to get something $200 approved that gets approved. If I start, if it gets into four figures, it's a bear. So is there any other things that that you can think of? Like, literally, I'm not kidding, Scott, up until 2 weeks ago, I never heard of clean fuego until I was on the Butch Thompson thing. So anything else like that you could think of?
Yeah, there's a couple. You speak of Randy Sullivan. He has promotes those, like, I think they're called like chaos ball, like water boys. They're like med balls you fill with water, and there's like a water tube. I bought a couple of those this year, and I just really, really like those from a training aspect of just working stability. And they're $100 or whatever they are. And they're on. If you go to Oats. That Oats specialty, those have been outstanding, because they allow you to get creative inside, like a recovery or a conditioning element that just, instead of just pounding these guys. I mean, we don't run much. We don't. Like, I tell guys, like, if we train the way we're supposed to train, we don't need to run. If you don't want to train the way we're supposed to train, we'll run, So, when we're doing a cover and first drill every day that we do with our infielders, get over there. I mean, if you do it 5 times, it's 5 really good sprint bursts right there. We don't need to run, And, but that's been really good. This is going to blow your mind, because it blows my mind like no other. And if I gave a presentation on this, people would think that, like, you're crazy. The most used object outside of a 5-ounce baseball in our pitching lab is a towel with a golf ball in it and 2 hair ties. I have never taught any towel drills whatsoever since I've been at Vanderbilt, to, like, hey, we're going to use a towel. We're going to use the towel. They're in there. We use them. I watch every single guy that comes in, he's working on his delivery, put that thing in his hands. And there's no reaching aspect. It's all intent based. And I would argue with somebody about this, is the old towel drill where you're trying to reach out and get extension and all that stuff. That's not good. Like, we all know that. But I have had success with 3 really good pitchers in a crazy towel drill. Like, I make them tell me where their, like, optimal stride length is. Guys that reach with their front leg, that just want to push and extend rather than just rotate.
Yep.
I measure their stride off for them. I'm like, listen, let's just tinker with here. Like I just draw a line in the sand. And I say, let's try to land our front foot here. Let's try to be athletic and really be a tornado inside this little area. But, like, let's not extend our front leg over this thing. And here's the other part. I'm going to be 3 steps away with my glove right in front of you. 3 steps. Like, I'm not far.
Yeah.
And I said, all I want you to do is just hit my glove with maximum power. Like, don't reach. You're not going to reach. And what I found is it's incredible. Number one, because I'm standing there, they don't reach because if they hit me with a towel, they know what's going to happen. And number two, they're like, holy cow, I just rotated really, really fast without even trying. Like, it just happened. I didn't have to rotate early. And it has nothing to do with the towel. The towel doesn't mean, it just created that environment. It just creates that mode, that constraint for them to like comprehend something. It's like, the core velocity belt could lead to that. You could restrain a guy that way. And so what ends up happening is a lot of guys just like to feel that golf ball towel. And it's almost like an underload element where they just work on different things. And it's, so to answer your question, I mean, that could cost you $9.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's that one now, the towel trainer. It's got a little bit of an interesting kind of grip to it. I kind of like that one because in theory, you can hold fastball, curveball, change kind of with it. But I mean, you could just get towels with a golf ball and
two hair ties, and you put your fingers right in the hair ties.
Yeah, that's good.
So I got that from the Rays a long time ago, and I just popped in and got it. Like I said, guys continue to use that. Like because there's nothing I mandate, nothing.
Right.
I don't mandate any form of these guys all come from different training environments now. Randy, Florida Baseball Ranch, I get guys from Driveline, I get guys from P3, and then I get guys from just local guys that they work with, and they all have a really good base of a program, and it's just to continue to allow them to do those things and just enhance it with some things that they, continue to make themselves better. So,
what are your thoughts of, another interesting presentation I saw, of course, he's now passed away, is Tony Robichaux from Louisiana Lafayette. He has this pitch by colors. Are you familiar with that concept?
Yeah, I've seen that a little bit. I mean, that's, again, it's just connecting your mind to what you're doing. I mean, it's really what it boils down to. And, the crazy thing about pitching is we all look at it in our own view, in our own perspective. We could be seeing the same things. We could be saying the same things. Be looking at it differently. Everything's interpreted. The bottom line is anything that connects the mind to what the athlete's trying to accomplish is right. That's a successful tool. I mean, we can argue it and say it's the best tool ever, but how the tool is implemented is extremely important. And,
of course,
throwing to targets. I just I was on with Ty Blankmeyer last night and Eddie Blankmeyer on a Zoom with some local pitching instructors, I guess, in the Northeast up there. And, I talked to him a little bit about weighted balls and all that stuff's great. But not enough time is spent throwing to targets, even plow balls, you're too, they're too close. Things happen, there it is. Not enough time spent throwing it. And I think one of the biggest things, how do you teach command? Number one, it's pretty proven that guys that command the ball better have really tight release points. They're not as buckshotty in their spray if you document their release points. So you can start and say, we're going to clean up the body so we're more consistent with our release points and give us a better chance to be where we need to be. And most of the time that's lower half control. But there's also a thing that, you need to know when the ball's supposed to come out of your hand. There has to be a trajectory that you're working at where you're like, that's going to land here and it's going to end up here.
Absolutely.
That's something that you can put anything you want in your hand. The athlete needs to connect that. And that's why I like throwing various objects for command and, all different balls and throwing to a target, hit the target.
Yep. Yeah. Proprioception, right. To be able to do it. And, it's fun that I still do. Obviously from throwing a lot of BP, I have really good command. And are we good there? Oh, sorry. Hang on. Something just that I was doing on the side here finished. So let me just close that off. Is I can, sorry, I'll get us back right there. Why are you disappearing on me?
I can hear you still.
Oh, yeah. Just the screen closed out. So, I mean, I would say with maybe one exception, 18 pitchers, I have better command than all of them. So the one thing I'll tell you that was really a cool growing thing that I did last year, and I don't think I have much to teach you, but this might be something that's cool, is So I wanted to do a better job of this is me personally. I don't give a shit about PFPs and defense, meaning I care. It's important, but I don't need to be on the field. Let the infield coach and the other coaches run all that. So really kind of design practice to set up to put different groups where there's a group doing PFPs. There's a group with me kind of in the pen where we could take our time. I don't have any of the responsibilities, but that, and then there's an extra group that might be prepping for one of those spots. So I take them and set up these competitions with buckets of balls. And I said, here's the parameters. There's 6 of you. For 5 minutes, you got to go 3 versus 3. For another 5 minutes, you got to go 2, 2, and 2. And for another 5 minutes, it's just every man for himself. Come up with something with this target thing with any pitch, a pickoff, curve, chain, whatever you want. So that's how I preface it. So 15 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I'm in the pen. Down in the left field corner where these guys are, it's like World War III. They're going at it. They're battling. They're screaming, "Hey guys, you got to get to the field now for PFP. We're not. Give us 2 minutes." And they go crazy just competing. They love the competition, but they also love the fact of just what you said, just throwing and just feeling command and learning. I think you just got to throw the ball out of your hand to be able to command it. Nothing else can teach you other than throwing a lot. Hey, little man, he's a lefty.
Yeah.
Me too, baby. Me too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love that. I think you can, anytime you can get guys competing and throwing the baseball with a result, I do a lot of work on the mound, and that's, I do two things that I think really, I think change guys' mindsets on things is, number one, we play catch on the mound a lot. I'm not a huge flat ground guy. I really try to encourage guys to just, you know what, just go play catch on the mound. Like your partner doesn't have to get down, but you're on the slope, you're feeling the slope. If you want to do a flat ground, just do a short box. Just put your partner down.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so we do that a lot. We really do that a lot. And the other thing is, I know you aren't up there for PFPs, but I would tell you that I really believe PFP leads to a lot of command. And I actually, and I had, at first, when I first got here, I like to make PFP as fun and repetitive as possible, because I think pitchers, the more reps they get, the better their reactions become and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, a lot of times PFP is spent on just executing a catch and stuff. But 9 times out of 10, when we fail as a pitcher with a PFP, it's a throw. So I've set up this, what I call pitcher square, where I build into their throwing volume each and every day, and they split into 2 groups, and we are working for 1.5 minutes each segment. We go through 8 segments, so it takes 15 minutes to rock and roll. And it's picks to first base from the mound. It's intermediate throws to the catcher, 1, 2, 3 double plays, where we're not turning to double play. Then we turn to double play feeds and bunts, and then we turn to choppers that we got to exchange at a high level. And then we finish up with a specialty state. Might be our bunt defenses, might be whatever we want to do. And it flies. And I build into their throwing volume, because I tell them, like, listen, you're probably going to get, an additional 20 to 25 throws. I've counted them, but they're all athletic throws. They're athletic. And there's a feel component that can't be taught inside that, where you're like, this is important. So those are 2 things that I spend a lot of time on. And obviously, as the season goes on, this is more in a training environment. As the season goes on, you're becoming less and less, because you're playing Tuesday, you're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right. And it's more about getting them, into an in-season management deal. So
no, don't get me wrong. I like exactly what you said. I like doing within our own pitcher group, all that kind of stuff. But when it's the whole team together, I don't know, it just kind of get bogged down, because now the infield coach wants to talk about stuff, which is fine. But I don't need to be standing around, explaining how the shortstop should be covering a bag on a 1-6 or something.
Right. Well, you're accomplishing things down where you need to, so you're doing very similar, and then you split them up, which is good, because it breaks up the monotony, I think, in my opinion.
All right. One more quick thing on that, and then we'll get to one more topic, and then we could get back to being dads, which is what your thoughts of, and you guys may have this with your technology. Do you like the concept of a radar gun being in every bullpen, so that they could see their change of speeds, they can see maybe a BP fastball taking something off, or do you think it just becomes a distraction?
I have the radar gun in our anytime just running in the lab. I don't really care about the radar gun.
What if it's pens out on the field, and
I don't have it there usually unless I really need something, like to see something. I wouldn't be opposed to it, and I think I was probably getting, I think we were on the verge of getting Yacker Tech, and one of the reasons I wanted Yacker Tech was because, are you familiar with Yacker Tech?
Nope.
It's a TrackMan, Rapsodo. But they have a portable deal, so I was excited because they have an in-game unit and they have a portable deal that way my data would have been the same, and I was hoping just to see how that all transpired this year. And if that was in the bullpen, I wouldn't. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, guys I think you just communicate with guys like you just said. You're trying to work on change of speed. Well, okay,
right.
The radar guns would tell you that. Or I thought you told me this was going to be a 75 to 80% intensity bullpen. Why are you throwing 95? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I just think it just gives you feedback on what's going to happen. And a lot of times, the guys you can do some things with it and stuff. But I just think the more it's in their face, some people, the more it's in their face, the less they get shocked and awed by it, too.
That's a great, that I like as a point. You're right. And I think, I try to teach some guys a little bit of pitchability, a little bit of, sometimes taking 3 or 4 off your fastball can be effective, So, all right. This one I'll kind of try to make brief, because we could literally talk the rest of the day and we got other things to do. And let's just call it fall. And let's say it's the 7-day period in the fall. From your mind, what buckets of things must be covered from throwing program, bullpens, plyo care, arm care, strength and conditioning, how do you, and I guess maybe in a way, how do you structure that? So there's you and you got 18 pitchers, however many you got. How far in advance you're laying out your week or your thing? I guess what I'm trying to get at is I think I need to be better with maybe more of a bigger picture view of how I want certain sections to run. What do I want for this next 6 weeks? How am I boiling it down to the throwing workload? When are you throwing the plyo balls mixed in with that? When are we doing core work? When are we doing? And part of that is at certain times we're well covered with strength and conditioning, and at other times I'm the strength and conditioning guy / they're left on their own. So I don't know if that's too confusing of a question, but if you're just looking at how you're running your group organizationally in a week's time, without getting too crazy detailed, how do you view that structure for that time period?
The fall. Talking about the fall.
I'm talking fall, because I think, and I mean, you could get to the spring. I mean, I think for the purposes of now, let's stick with the fall. Let's stick with the fall in season, if you will.
Okay.
In season fall.
Well, the first thing I do is I type out a yearly throwing timeline for the guys, for each pitcher, so they know kind of here's where I'm at right now, and it's obviously subject to change, but I give them that just in a visual. Each guy's a little different, where they came off pitch in the summer, they didn't. That way they know, coach has got me, keep going here, but he's going to shut me down here. Okay, so they know, because some guys are thinking about things, and not a huge, I define shutdown a little differently maybe than some other people on that, but I lay it out weekly. And the way the first thing I try to do inside that is the first foundation. It's just creating a foundation. It's your preparation. And I spend the first basically 35 minutes going through a 15-minute every day mental training, meditation, visualization. I don't care what you call it. We call it presence. And it's getting your mind and your body and you're just getting where you need to be right now. Sometimes we're just quiet. Other times there's a podcast going. Sometimes I'm talking them through some stuff. It's different emotions. It's not just getting calm every single time. Because I think sometimes we think that stuff, we got to quiet it down. There's drama. Well, I can erase drama real quick if I get intense and get competitive. It's gone. Right. So So we spend time on that. Then it's routines. And the first thing I do when they get there is, I should probably back up, is I have conversations with each and every pitcher about how they prepare, what's worked well for them, what do you want to work on, what do you want to accomplish, here's my thoughts. And we just get on the same page. It's development. It's and it can be broken down deep into like, I want, they can get into something like, I want 100 more RPMs, or I want better spin direction on my curveball. If they know, other guys might say, listen, I want to be able to repeat my delivery in the stretch better. It's just little things, but you're like, these are going to help you equate to becoming a better individual. So we get it. We talk about that. Then we build their routine, and their routine is built off of how they prepare to throw, how they recover. And those are the things that we spend time on. And then the throwing plan is designed. Now, I'm not a huge bullpen guy during this training segment. And the reason I say that is I just think that you're not throwing 6-7 innings like you are in a season. We keep your workload down to where it's like 2 to 3 innings. So you should be able to go multiple times in a week. There's no reason for it. Now, I might not do that with every single guy, but some guys that need to advance in the pitchability or learn, get better as a pitcher, they can do things like that. So I just think the more times they face hitters, it's taking advantage of those opportunities. So it's just laid out. Everything is laid out weekly for them to see when they will throw live to hitters. Their strength training from a weights day to a conditioning day to an arm care to a post throw. It's all laid out for them. And then on top of that, it's a lot of work on a daily basis, but I plan their entire day for them, from just a daily training plan as well. They get a daily lesson plan that basically tells them where they're going to be and when they need to be there. Now, our structure's changed a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. We start off with that, like I just talked about, a 35-minute segment. Then we usually go to some sort of team defense aspect. Now, a lot of times in the fall, we might be doing standard bunts or whatever, but that's when we get our reps in on our pitcher square and our infield square defense, and we do things from there. Because I just think if you touch it every day, it's like a daily vitamin, just doing pickoffs once a week or and I don't want them to be like these guys that have great pickoff moves. If they do, it's great, but they got to own that. I mean, I just want to be able to throw it over there accurately and hold runners. But anyways, then from there, when we get into offense, we shift into a pitching deal where half my guys will be with the strength coach. The other might be with me doing a bullpen or some sort of skill development or training. It's just broken. That period's broken down. It's mine where I don't have to. We don't shag balls for that. We go down to the lab, we're on the football field, or we're in the weight room. And it frees me up where I don't have 18 guys where I'm like really worried about it. So it's a very fortunate coach. Coach Corbin's really helped me with that. And allows me. Sometimes it's just a one-on-one segment, and the other 17 are in it. And it just gives me a chance to really work something out with some guys, or talk about a mental approach that needs to take place here, or something that, we need to improve on, whether it's holding runners at second base, something like that. It just gives me a skill segment that I can.
So that lifting actually will happen during a practice period too?
Yes. Yep. They're lifting. Now,
my guys would be so freaking happy if they could do that. They would go.
Well, it's efficient. Yeah. It's very efficient. And I think when you get guys in the weight room, we can do their arm care there. If guys are in the skill segment, it's a non-lift day, then they go into like their post throwing that they like to do, soft tissue work, whatever. They can finish that up too as well. That's
good. That's big, man. I like that.
Yeah. Their PT exercises that are important to, that takes time, that they just, they don't get the ample time. I just try to give guys the right amount of time to do lead up work that's important to them. And really I tell them is if you can accomplish your lead up work and your presence, we can do those two things before we really get into the team segment thrown. We're set. We've accomplished a lot before we've even got to that. And it takes organization, and it's laying it out. And, but it's also giving them freedom inside that, and each and every guy is a little bit different. Some guys I tell them they only have 35 minutes. I mean, it's plenty of time. If you can't get things done in 35 minutes, we're really, you're really not moving at a pace. Now, if you need more, we can get there early, do some early work. Right. But, so that's how I lay it out. The fall to me is I want guys to get better. I want them to compete, and I want to see I want to see freshmen transition to college, so it's learning the system and how they do things. I want to see my returners just get a little bit better in something. I might take a guy like Kumar and say, listen, just try your changeup 22 times today or something. Just throw your changeup. You get beat around today. And then, sometimes they get a little upset maybe because it's the reason they lost or whatever. But I'm like, oh, you found out today your changeup's not very good. You know, so the feedback the game can give you is extremely important. So I've laid it out. And the other thing we do too, is we really change the dynamics of how we're scrimmaging and how we're doing things. We have, obviously you get 2 games now, which is nice. You got your color series, your black and gold, whatever you play against, splinter squads. Yep. We do skin scrimmages for a week, which are just awesome. They're probably one of the best things we've ever done.
What's that?
That's where we take, it's like skins in golf. Every inning, we call them frames. Every frame is like a hole in golf, and it's worth 1 point. But the situations are very high leverage. Like it might be first and third, 1 out. It's the 9th inning, basically. So, we do it over a course of 4 days, and each team has, same amount of home and away opportunities. So it's almost like sudden death. And if the inning ties, you basically, it carries over, and the next one's worth 2. And they're highly competitive. The other thing we do with it is we celebrate, like if it was, if I go out and I pitch for my team and it's the bottom half of the inning and we're winning 1-0 and it's first and third, 1 out, and I get a ground ball double play to end the game, we celebrate it. Like they come out of the dugout and they celebrate it. And it's just, it teaches, it gets them really engaged in tough situations. They realize that, like, I don't necessarily have to pitch out of this situation. I have to navigate it. It's very challenging for the pitchers too, because they're sideways almost the whole time. So, So we do that. And then we do, we'll do some pitcher versus hitters on the clock where they're throwing fastballs rapidly. It's pretty cool. So we just try to create some variations to get them to learn things we want them to learn. We want them to learn pace. Well, the only way you learn pace is see how many pitches can you get in 5 minutes. Let's go. And hitters get in the box. You got 4 pitches and get out. Let's move. You take time getting up into the box. You're not going to get many pitches in. So we just try to get them to move, and they can only throw fastballs. So they should get hit. They should get hit. But what they realize is that when you're moving at a pace that's uncomfortable to the hitter, your fastball plays up. It's just different things like that, and just being creative. So
I'll tell you. And go ahead. Did you want to finish something there? That was good.
No, good.
All right. So I felt, this is really the last thing, unless you have anything else you want to add, but I felt ass backwards into something. I have very few original ideas. But this one, I'll tell you how this system came about. I don't think it's necessarily something you do or Vanderbilt thing. So there are times when I throw, if you will, live. It's not coach pitch because I'm behind the screen with a mound out there, and I'm throwing legit to get him out, right? So I'm at 45 feet on the ramp, and I want to work quickly, and I'm throwing my stuff. At 45 feet, I'm nasty stuff. So it happened that I don't want the catcher to call pitches. It was slowing me down. So I basically all right, I'm going to give you locations and pitches with numbers. Okay. So for example, because I can't tell you the real system because you'd steal it from me. But let's say, for example, 5 is my changeup. So I determined 5 is my changeup. So I would say to the catcher, all right, I'm going to give you 3 numbers, and this inning, second number is live. So 252, there's my changeup. Or I give you 4 numbers, 1257. The third number is live. There's my changeup. Okay. And then, so I assigned 5 as my changeup. All right. And then it became like, well, all right, other catchers are now hitting, so they know what this thing is. So I'd say, all right, I'm going to give you 4 numbers. I'm adding the first 2. So I'd go 23, 51. Add 2 and the 3, that's 5. There's my changeup. So I was able to verbally tell the catcher right from the mound what pitch I wanted to throw. So now and I started to use that because I had a couple of catchers that really, it sounds silly, they really couldn't handle the old number sign to the wrist, and they would just dyslexic and they couldn't handle it. So I said, all right, let's start using this system where I would just give you numbers with my hands, and I'm calling the pitches. So if I would call 4-5-2, I'm calling and saying second number, there's my change. All right. Now this goes further, where John Murphy from Boston College, our former player, says, if you're playing at Wake Forest, you better come up with a system. They're going to steal all your stuff. They're going to steal from the center field camera. All right, so we're playing Wake, you know. So make a long story short, Scott, I have 3 pitchers in the dugout. They hold up 3 signs. So I have 0 through 9 with 3 separate things. And I'll just say 257. And there's an unlimited amount of ways that I could make what's live. It's unpickupable, really. You first will have to know all my numbers, and then you have to know which is live. So it's impossible. So we start using this to start the year. I have 2 guys that don't like it. That's fine. And the rest love it. We started having other coaches fight with the umpire. We started having hitters fight. We were working so quickly because I'm posting, the players are posting the sign. The catcher looks at it, pitcher looks at it. The entire defense knows what the pitch is and what's live, and we go. So they just need to look and pitch. We were throwing pitches, you know, within 10, 11 seconds every time, and the batter wasn't. So the pitchers started to love it. Everybody started to love it, but it created a little bit of chaos because we were pitching. The umpires are like, "I've never seen a team work this fast." We go, "Yeah, that's." So it accidentally fell into. We were getting pitches in as fast as you could possibly get it. So it became really, really, really interesting.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. So just thought I'd share that with you because it was pretty. Now, you know, you still need the pitcher to throw the pitch, and you know, when Wake Forest still hit a few of those signs I called to the other side of the fence, but that's go. All right, man. I appreciate your time, Scotty. It's good catching up with you. Good seeing you. Nick Restano says hi.
Yeah, tell him I said hello. That's great,
Yeah,
man.
Will. Yeah,
And, I appreciate you having me on. Great catching up with you
no,
too.
it was awesome. Yeah, and you know, if I can help you in any way, shape, or form with anything, even if it's going to peek at a guy that's out of the Sacred Heart realm, you know, if I see a guy at 93, we're not getting him. So if you need me to, and in fact, my son was telling me, you got a kid from Greenwich coming down?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Miles Langhorn.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, is he
He's
legit?
a Greenwich Legion. He's a Greenwich Legion kid. He's come to our camp for years, and I mean, he's a little bit projectable. I mean, the skill's not there yet, totally yet, but I mean, it's a live arm. It's up to 94.
Really?
You know, it's
Wow.
a really athletic body. It's just he's got to hone in on his skill a little bit, but yeah. So he's coming next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a kid. So like, that's a perfect example. I don't follow a kid like that because he's, you know, that's not the kind of recruit we get. You know, so
right.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for your time. Go enjoy your son there.
Yeah, shoot me that Zoom thing for Butch too. I'd love to pop on there. That'd be great.
As soon as I hang up, I'll forward it to your email right then.
Sounds good. Thanks, Wayne.
All right, Scotty. All right, take care.
See you, buddy. You take care.
All right, bye. Yep.